Hello everyone, Trip here. People tend to think that Dragon Ball fans depend on guidebook statements to get Goku to insane levels. To some extent it is true, but how strong would Goku be with no guidebook statements? Just purely anime and manga. I'm about to end Saitama fan's whole career. The very first scaling meta we get for Dragon Ball that's impressive is Frieza being able to tank the Universal Spirit Bomb, which was stated to have gathered energy from the entire universe multiple times. Coupled with the fact that Frieza was stated multiple times to be capable of destroying the entire universe, and we know that he isn't simply capable of destroying the matter, but actually the space-time, as well as seeing that people far weaker than Frieza had the power to affect space-time. We know that it's stated there's a countless amount of galaxies, and if we go by Dragon Ball GT, it's stated that there's a boundless amount of galaxies. Usually one statement is deemed as hyperbolic, but when you have multiple materials pointing towards the same thing, it becomes your burden to prove that it is hyperbolic in the first place. Countless doesn't literally mean infinite, but when put together with boundless, we can see that the intention here is to have an infinite amount of galaxies. So we know Frieza can destroy a universal spacetime with an infinite amount of three-dimensional galaxies, and by definition, this universal spacetime would have to be infinite to contain them. I don't want to hear anything about GT being non-canon, because if you think it isn't canon, then you can just watch this video. Even if it's an alternate timeline, it's still explaining how things work cosmologically in Dragon Ball. However, if you decide to not use it and we have only one statement saying there's countless galaxies, then you can argue it's hyperbolic, but it still wouldn't matter, as Frieza would still be Universal Plus for being able to affect space-time with his ki, and Frieza requiring this level of power to destroy the universe would also make the universe arguably infinite in size, being supported by the countless galaxy statement. Goku scaling above this version of Frieza would make him Uni Plus, but there's more beyond this. Moving on to the Android saga, we see that it's stated multiple times that Goku going Super Saiyan is like a completely different dimension of power from everyone else. This also ties deeper into the fact that Cell is stated to have an infinite power level, and him having an infinite and bottomless power multiple times. Cell's battle power being infinite is insane because even without using guidebook statements, we know that by the anime, Frieza's power level was over 1,000,000 in his second form, with his later forms being only finitely stronger than this. Frieza was Uni Plus with finite power levels, so Cell having an infinite power compared to Frieza would make him 5D casually. Moving on to the Buu saga, we get the statement that Buhan is fundamentally infinitely stronger than he was before, and on a completely different plane of existence in terms of power. This would make him 6D in terms of power bare minimum. The reason I say bare minimum is because it can get even more crazy than this, with even people such as Super Saiyan 3 Goku being finitely weaker than Buhan and his power being felt all the way out in the sacred world of the Kais, which we know by the manga is a completely separate realm from the universe, implying that it requires at least a 6-dimensional level of power to reach the Kaioshin realm, as the Kais thought it was impossible to do. We also know that Heaven is as big as the arguably infinite-sized universe based on anime statements, and Heaven is depicted as a small object compared to the Otherworld. This also ties into the fact that Otherworld was stated to have no time compared to the living world, and stated to be non-physical, stated that the living world is a lower realm compared to it, and even Goku Black, who came from beyond Otherworld, aka the Kaioshin realm, states that he looks down on existence from a much higher perspective. We know that lower realm doesn't necessarily mean place below, as in context of universal axioms in space in general, there is no up or down or any sense of directionality. If it takes a 6-dimensional power to go beyond Otherworld, we can assume that it takes a 5th-dimensional power to reach Otherworld bare minimum. Coupled with the fact that it's a higher realm with no time compared to the living world and contains something as big as the universe within it, we can assert that Otherworld is at least 5D, but this is actually still a low ball. We know that technically Outerversal can still be called infinitely stronger than 5D, so Buhan's statement about being infinitely stronger doesn't necessarily have to cap him at just 6D. Hence, we know that the power that it took to reach the Kaioshin realm could also be Outerversal and cause no contradictions. The reason I say this is because you can either be 0D or Outerversal. 0D is the absence of dimensions, and Outerversal has no dimensions and yet transcends dimensions, which points to it not being bound by dimensionality, as that's the only logical explanation for having the property of transcending dimensions while lacking dimensions in context to the tiering system. We know that Otherworld was stated on multiple occasions to be without time, which also implies without space via relativity, and we know that it's implied to be non-physical, so we know that Otherworld has no dimensions, but it's also stated to be a higher realm and its own plane of existence, and we know that it's a completely separate realm from the living world based on Goku's statement. So a higher plane of existence that encompasses an infinite universal-sized body while being without space-time or physicality, and it taking a certain infinitely greater power than even Cell, who already had infinitely greater power than Universal Plus in order to reach Otherworld. This implies that Otherworld transcends a dimension while in of itself being atemporal or aspatial or non-dimensional. I believe that it is definitely arguable that Otherworld is Outerversal based on these statements alone, and I also think it's a better argument than saying it's 5D because it would be contradicted directly by it being stated to be non-physical and non-dimensional. Moving on, we know that Goku in at least the Battle of Gods is capable of destroying the macrocosm, making him Outerversal bare minimum, but we won't stop there. It stated that Merge Zamasu had a body that could grow infinitely stronger, and Gowasu stated that their power didn't just merge together but expanded to no end, and his standing as a god was even beyond their understanding. This implies that Goku got infinitely stronger for even being comparable to Zamasu, and Zamasu even becomes an abstract being that can cross into completely separate parallel multiverses, and Goku's still able to tank attack from him while fatigued and in base. For speed, we know that Goku being outer would just grant him relevant speed, but let's just do it with some scans rather than just deductions. Jiren is stated to have a power that transcends time by Vados, an angel who was very reliable in Dragon Ball and well versed in time manipulation. We know that in Dragon Ball, power and speed correlate, so if your power transcends time, it means your speed necessarily has to transcend time. This is actually even more supported by Goku and Jiren's speed being stated to be super dimensional. Super dimensional in context of them already having outer-versal power wouldn't just mean higher dimensional, but above higher dimensional speed. This is also supported by the fact that Goku was able to casually traverse the erased multiverse in base, which was devoid of all the concepts. This would put Goku easily at a relevant speed. While I do agree that it's more difficult than just using standard guidebooks, we don't really need them to get Goku to these insane levels. You begin to wonder that if you can argue Goku is outer-versal with a relevant speed without any guidebooks, then whenever we do use the guidebooks that verbatim state these things, what are the downplayers even arguing about? What's up guys, it's your boy Drip Sauce, and if you enjoyed today's video, please be sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you never miss an upload. And please be sure to stay far away from any member of Skypea, as they're known for being PDF files, doxers, and swatters who bully people in VC and fake their own verdicts. Heck, even one of their most notable members, Focus, was just banned from YouTube because all he posted were videos of him swatting old ladies and doxing people. He's even posted multiple videos of him manipulating mentally challenged underage girls into cutting themselves on Discord. Make sure to spam report anything related to Skypea because they're all a bunch of disgusting people. Lastly, don't forget to join the Discord server. The link will be pinned in the comment section below. Alright.